All right, and we're live. How we all doing this Wednesday afternoon? Let me just do a quick sound check, make sure everything's working fine here on the old YouTubes. All right, sounds good. Okay. Um, by the way, I think I might have figured out what the technical issue I've been having with Hangouts here is. It could just be the fact that I'm stuck using Wi-Fi on this laptop. Um, and the reason I'm stuck is because it's got no Ethernet port. I would just rather hardwired. I don't like Wi-Fi in general. But somebody brought up looking for a USB to Ethernet converter, so I'm going to go try and get one of those here in the next day or so. So at least by the Saturday show, that problem should be fixed. Hopefully, if that's indeed the problem. Somebody said in the chat says being unemployed blows. Yes, it does. But on the upside, I can, stream and entertain you fine folks. And if you appreciate the stream, do check out the tip jar down below. That's shameless eBaying. All right. So a couple of things I want to talk about. There's very little comic books I read anymore, but I did pick up a few today that were out. I do want to talk about them a touch because some of them are interesting. ESPN is massively imploding right now, which I think is interesting. I want to talk about that. But first, I got to talk about a video that was brought to my attention today because I was watching, sniffling like DSP over here. I was watching Pastor Tom's live stream. He does a couple through the week. I'm not sure how regularly he does them, but him and Luke do them. And they were talking about, and he even called it low-hanging fruit because it was, this video by Cult of Dusty. Cult of Dusty is like, I don't know, like, I've only seen a little bit of his stuff because it's all I could stomach, but he's sort of like this redneck fedora is the best way I can fucking put him. I mean, he's not quite as shitty as, say, the Anal Atheist, no pun intended. But he's up there, and he's pretty fucking dumb. This was his video. The premise was that he had disproven the story of Exodus using Google Earth. Oh, well, this is very interesting. Well, he shows that, as we can see, the distance between Egypt and Israel should have not taken the Israelites, the Jews, 40 years to cross that distance, even on foot. Wow, Dusty. You fucking genius. And like, I'm watching this through Pastor Tom's video, and even as he's beginning to say, like, he's like, through Google Earth, I've disproved the Bible, the story of Exodus, and then immediately I'm like holding the bridge in my nose, like, no, he's not gonna do this. He's not that dumb, is he? He's not that fucking dumb, right? For those of you that maybe don't know a great deal about the teachings of Christianity or the teachings of the Old Testament, this story, whether you believe it or not, the story teaches that as they left Egypt, the Jews had to wander the desert for 40 years because basically a curse. God wanted to a fresh generation to go into Israel because he was none too happy with the current one of these people. So he forced them to wander the desert for 40 years. That's the story. Yes, it obviously doesn't take 40 years. The story itself acknowledges that this journey would have taken a fraction of that time had, the Jews been obedient to their God. And he even, it's staggering. Like, I went to this video and I thought, this has got to have half fucking dislikes because that's fucking stupid. I mean, in my most God-hating agnostic fucking days as a teenager, I would have been like, dude, that's dumb. You clearly didn't read the story you're trying to but yeah, it's That guy's dumb as fuck. Holy shit. And then he's like all in the chat, like, I guess because someone brought it to his attention immediately. He's like, haha, Christians have to defend this story by talking about a curse. No, you were stupid. You didn't know the story. It's something you heard briefly somewhere. Like, I don't know, maybe he saw like the Family Guy version of it, and that's what he's going off of, or something like that. Dusty is a dumb motherfucker. I mean, very few of these guys are that particularly bright. I mean, a couple of them are reasonably bright. I think Skeptic's a reasonably bright man. All autistic as fuck, but, you know, he's a Star Wars fan, what do you expect? Most of them are just guys who are slightly above average, and, you know, they went through a public school, so they think they're a fucking genius because public schools are designed for morons. Ugh. I don't want to cover a lot of it because I didn't watch it because life's too fucking short to watch a Cult of Dusty video. But holy shit, what a dumb motherfucker. I was in awe that he could have been that fucking stupid and that he gets that many views, you know, with that high a like ratio. Damn. If God is dead, it's only because he died laughing. Let's see. Okay, so a couple other things I want to talk about. You know what, real quick, and I know we're very early in the video, but I never know how long these weekdays videos will last. So before I forget, sponsor for this video is Reconnaissance Man by Aaron Clary. Let's just real quick go over there. And so Reconnaissance Man, it's very simple. This book is about halfway between Enjoy the Decline and Worthless in its overall structure and tone. If I had to put it there somewhere, it's primarily geared at young people, but it's, you know, it's about taking a step back and looking at what you really want and going for it, and not taking the, you know, the good boy route that everybody's supposed to take that probably isn't what you need to do. You know, you probably shouldn't go to college, for example. You know, not saying you shouldn't, but, you know, don't go just because you're told to. And that's what this book talks about. This is up there with Worthless. It is a book that really should get in the hands of a lot of young people. So do check that out. Available in both Kindle. So it's available in both physical form and Kindle. I don't know if it's available in an audiobook format yet. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if it's not yet, it will be soon. So do check that out. All right. Okay, so moving on. A couple of comics that were out this week. I picked up a couple. I got the Shadow Batman crossover, which looked pretty good. That's the one I didn't get a chance to read. The other couple I did read when I got home. There is a storyline called The Button going on in both Flash and Batman books right now. It's pretty interesting. I mentioned this, oh, good heavens, well over a year ago now, I guess, when DC did its rebirth, kind of undoing a lot of the New 52 garbage. They hinted around that the entity behind making the DC universe sort of shitty with this New 52, at least, you know, the in story explanation, was basically Dr. Manhattan. And at the end of Rebirth, the Button from Watchmen appears in Batman's cave, and since then they've been studying it. Well, this storyline is sort of following up on that, and it's 2 issues in now, Batman 21 and Flash 21 volume, who the hell knows anymore. But yeah, they It looks like it's going to even further restore the DC universe to its pre New 52 state. We might even bring back the Justice Society, and we're hitting around bringing Golden Age flashback, that kind of thing. So it was pretty good. It's well written, and again, I like that DC is going back to what was working, because the New 52 was ass. I'm sorry, it was just terrible. There was a few bright spots, but by and large, it was awful. And DC books right before the reboot, right before the New 52, were never better. Certainly not in my lifetime. They could have used a shot in the arm, marketing-wise. I mean, even just giving everything a new number one would have been enough. Action Comics getting another number one when it hadn't gotten another number one in over 70 years alone would have driven up sales, with or without a reboot. It could have just been, a relaunch with a new status quo. But I really enjoyed it. The other book that was out that I picked up was Scarlet Spider. And I have not been following the Spider-Man books because Dan Slott is a hack. And he's also a piece of human garbage. But this was Mark Bagley and Peter David. And I had to give it a shot. And it wasn't bad, but basically we turned Scarlet Spider into Deadpool. I don't know how else to put it. Like, he's even all like scarred up in his face, but like he's this sort of unhinged, trying to be a hero, but also kind of a shitbag guy now. And he's Deadpool. He's fucking Deadpool. And like I said, it's not bad. It's not really bad. But it's really not good. I shouldn't even say that. It's not the Scarlet Spider is what it's not. I don't know. I might give issue 2 a shot. I wasn't overly impressed with issue 1. But that creative team alone, I had to at least check it out. I might pick up issue 2, but I mean, now of all times I got to watch my money, so I'm far less inclined to pick up something unless it really catches my eye. I don't even keep my comics anymore. I used to have this massive fucking comic collection. I mean, oh, good heavens, like 5 long boxes and something like 25 short boxes. I mean, basically been collecting since I was like 12 or 13 on into my mid to late 20s. Every week buy a new comics damn near. I mean, there were times I stopped for a while for this or that reason, financial or whatever, but that was my hobby, And I finally just, when I was doing that stand with my buddy, I just kind of half donated, half sold them. I sold them really, really cheap to the stand, essentially. And now even, I pick up a few comics when I got a stack of them. I just take them over to my buddy's stand and just say, hey, give me a couple bucks for these. Because I don't want shit, it becomes a storage issue more than anything else. I mean, I've sort of moved on more to collecting classic video games, so, which takes up considerably less space. All right. Another thing I want to talk about, and then I'll probably check out what's going on in the chat. ESPN is laying off over 100 employees. Now, I'm not a sports ball guy. I can't stand watching football. I think it's boring as fuck. I can't stand watching baseball. I think that's even more boring as fuck. I can watch basketball. I'm not really much of a fan, but I find it entertaining enough if I sit down and watch a game with, say, a buddy of mine who's a fan. I've had friends that were into it, and I could sit down and watch it with them, and it held my interest. I like hockey, but I don't follow it very closely. But every once in a while, I like to sit down and watch a hockey game. Those sports are just fast-paced enough. They hold my interest. A lot of sports don't. That said, though, I do feel bad for the sports ball fans who are having this pause just injected into their fucking hobby. And I mean, on one hand, fucking join the club. You know what I mean? Every goddamn superhero I love seems to be getting replaced by a black transsexual Muslim in a wheelchair. But I don't understand how anybody can fucking watch the NFL right now. If you're a conservative or right wing, I guess is a better word because I don't even like the word conservative, because it usually just means conservative. But no, if you're a right winger of whatever stripe, and there's many species in the right wing family. But if you're a white male, straight Christian, if you just are fond of Western civilization, I don't see how you could support the NFL. And I realize every company's bad, but I don't know. You got to draw a line somewhere. I mean, I by and large don't support Marvel anymore because it's just so fucking unbelievably paused. Yes, I picked up a Marvel book today because I was just curious, but by and large, I steer clear of that shit. And in all fairness, a lot of you football fans have. The NFL's ratings went down considerably this past year. And I am pleasantly surprised in you. I didn't think you had that in you to ever walk away from football. Good on you. It's funny, Vox Day won't give up the ghost on it. And I love Vox Day. I'm a big fan of him. But he won't. Not only will he not give up a ghost on it, he blocks commenters that call him out on it. Like he throws him off his blog. Like, hey, you're being kind of cucked here. Football. But anyways, like I said, I sympathize for, and then ESPN. What's ESPN? It's supposed to be just a bunch of guys, giving you the sports highlights of the day and talking about sports news and all that good shit. Oh, good, okay, But now it's all paused in an egg hole, and people don't even watch ESPN anymore. And here's the interesting thing I saw: like ESPN's losing a lot of money. There's a handful of cable companies that are smaller cable companies, not big ones like Comcast, that are actually offering packages without ESPN. I've heard from somebody who works at a cable company, which even advertises itself more as an internet company because they know where the future is. What cable needs, what would be a shot in the arm to cable, really, what would actually help save it, and they're fighting it because of what they view as a negative consequence. But what I think would help save it, you need to be able to a la carte buy your channels. Okay, yeah, there might be packages which would, let's say a package of 70 channels is way, way cheaper than if you buy 70 channels individually. That makes sense, But let's say I want, I don't know, maybe 10, Maybe I could pay $5 per channel or whatever. I mean, I've said before, like there are 3 shows that I would actually be sad if I missed that I'm watching. Is it Flash, Arrow, and Rick and Morty? Son of Zorn I like, but whatever. I might just buy it on DVD sometime when it's, I'm not. It's not that big a deal if I miss it. There are other shows I'll watch if they're on, but I don't give a damn that much about it. Like I'll watch a new Family Guy if I'm sitting around on a Sunday night when it's on. But I'm just as likely to be just instead watching something on YouTube. Flash and Arrow, I know for a fact I can go and watch on the CW. In fact, I intend to watch Flash tonight on the CW because I missed the first half of it because I forgot it was on because it's been on rerun for so damn long these past few weeks. So I can watch those on the CW. Rick and Morty, I'm pretty damn sure I can watch on adultswim.com or something like that. So there's 3 things I watch that don't even need cable for. So if I could just buy channels, I'd probably do that instead. I mean, shit, what do I even need? I don't know, CW. What do I watch? CW, Cartoon Network for Adult Swim. Probably get Fox News. I don't know, shit, a couple of, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe BBC America just for the Star Trek reruns. I don't know. I mean, not a whole lot. If it was just like, here, get 10 channels for, but the point is, the cable companies don't want that because they got like this hurt. Like, let's face facts. If you could buy channels individually, no one would buy MTV. No one at this point would buy Comedy Central. And aside from a few really devoted sports cucks, a lot of people aren't buying ESPN. So a lot of these major, big cable channels would just fucking vanish. Now, 10 years ago, I would have said that's a bad thing. 10 years ago, when, not as many of us had high-speed internet. I didn't at that point. I think it was probably like 2010 I really got the high-speed internet. Maybe 2009, something like that. I would have been like, well, I like the fact that there's such a variety of cable channels, and the little guys have a better shot of surviving. This would have been back when stuff like G4 was on. And I really saw a variety of cable channels, little guys that maybe wouldn't survive in an a la carte world, that wouldn't even have a chance in an a la carte world. But the problem is that reasoning is gone. Whether or not you think that was good reasoning, maybe you think, oh, I was always for the a la carte stuff. Okay, fine. But that reasoning is gone because there is no fucking variety now. It's 300 channels of fucking AIDS. All right? That's all it is. There's no variety. What is there's no G4. There's no oddball channels. That the oddball stuff went onto YouTube, and that may be getting chased off YouTube here in the next. We'll see. But in the place of G4, there's companies. There's guys like, well, maybe a few years ago, Spoonie, but there's really great reviewers. I enjoy Ant Dude, and some call me Johnny, guys like that. Who the hell needs a G4 when those guys are around, But yeah, years ago when there was a true variety to the cable networks, especially your digital cable package where you got 300 channels and shit like that, maybe so, but now, hell's the point? I mean, there's precious few channels that even justify TV's continued existence. That's a shame. That's kind of, that's a damn shame. But it is what it is. I mean, nothing I could do. I'm pushing buttons. It is what it is. There's nothing. There's nothing to watch on these 300 channels. It's just fucking AIDS. Just a whole bunch of AIDS. I'm probably going to cancel my cable in the next few months. I renewed it at a lower price a few months ago, and it's one of those things where you get a big old penalty if you cancel early, but that penalty goes down each month. So once that penalty is either gone or has gone down to a pretty low amount, I'm probably going to cancel the cable. Be like, yeah, I don't need no cable. Just give me the internet. In fact, maybe give me a little faster internet if you could. Bechtloff, you saying you don't enjoy media pause? No, I'm really not. I mean, it's just fucking terrible. It's a shame. I mean, I kind of miss it, I mean, I remember back in the day when and I remember a satellite TV in particular had almost a mystique. Oh, we're going back to the late 90s, early 2000s here. But I remember I actually didn't have Comedy Central when I lived down in Maryland, and I moved up to Maryland in late 98 when I was a teenager. I moved up to PA, I should say, from Maryland. But down in Maryland, we didn't even have Comedy Central in that cable package. And I remember everybody talking about South Park, the first year it was out. And I couldn't see it. My first exposure to Matt Stone and Trey Parker was actually seeing basketball in the theaters. But I remember I watched like half of a South Park episode at a buddy's house because he had satellite TV. And I remember because I was over at his house for a while. And he had more channels that I'd ever seen, channels I'd never fucking heard of. It was unreal. Satellite TV had this great mystique about it. Every damn channel imaginable. And then, nowadays, I don't even think there's any fucking difference between satellite and cable. And then cable's got the big pack, the digital cable package where you get the big 400 channels or whatever. But there's just nothing really worth watching. There are a handful of shows that are worth checking out. I'd almost rather, and it's, you want to support the shows, you want to watch them when they're good, but you almost just want to be like, hey, I'll just get them on DVD or something. Like, Oh well, but yeah, I think it would actually do a lot of good for TV and for cable to allow the unbundling, to allow people to buy channels one at a time. That would force an element of competition back into it. That would force, you're not just riding as part of the herd. I think that would help to trim down the pause even. Alrighty. Well, let's check out the chat. What all y'all got going on in the chat here? Somebody says med resistant channels. Yeah. MTV is definitely your med resistant channel. If you still watch MTV, you're wrong. Let's see what we got here in the old chat. So he says, God help Berkeley. No, goddamn Berkeley. I hope the ground opens up and swallows that old godforsaken place. Matt Foney says, whoa, Bechtloff is streaming during an hour where I'm awake. It's not my fault you moved out to the buttfuck middle of nowhere there. Let's see. Somebody says, why can't I handpick my own channels, the ones I really want to watch? Yeah, that's I'd buy maybe 10 of them, if that. And I'd pay $5 a channel. Sure. Or hell, $10 a channel. I might buy a little bit less than 10, but I'd say $5 a month per channel is a pretty good rate, but maybe I'm being a cheapskate. Somebody says, is Adult Swim its own channel yet? No, it's Cartoon Network at night. But who would buy the BET channel? Bechtloff, think of the gangbangers. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago I would have, just for rap videos, but back when rap wasn't faggy. Even rap music got fucking neutered, man. It used to be all about fuck the police and, banging hoes and shit. Now it's Macklemore whining. Don't say fag, that's mean. Let's see. Am I the only ones that remember when MTV played 24/7 music videos? No, you're not, but that was a while ago. Cable companies don't allow a la carte plans unless the government forces them to, because it would reveal that the vast majority of cable channels are unpopular and lose money. Again, though, 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, well, doesn't that give us a greater variety? You get all these oddball channels, but now I think that reasoning is gone, because it would just reveal that even the quote unquote big guys are unpopular because they're fucking paused in their neck holes. MTV used to be for cool kids. Now it's for the faggots that get their asses kicked at school. Yes. Let's see. Without getting packaged with channels people want, a bunch of networks could not afford to exist. But here's the thing. This is what I think it would surprise people. It would surprise the quote unquote mainstream, what channels people want. Because again, the so-called big names would die on the vine. MTV wouldn't last a fucking year if this whole country could buy channels. No one would buy MTV. Comedy Central wouldn't last a fucking year. ESPN would be hurting something fierce. ESPN, that's like, think back. ESPN is damn near like the first fucking cable channel, okay? Like, I think two of the earliest cable channels ever to exist, back when cable was a luxury had only by the uber rich in the late 70s, was like ESPN and like CNN, an all news channel and an all sports channel back when that was this amazing fucking thing. Oh, and by the way, CNN would die on the fucking vine. MSNBC would die on the fucking vine, although they do a little better than CNN. Fox News is the only news channel that would have a fucking shot at surviving. But yeah, the big names would actually die. Somebody says, I only watch Cartoon Network for Toonami and Rick and Morty and King of the Hill reruns. Yeah, I don't think I watch anything on Cartoon Network during it. Well, I'll watch We Bare Bears if I catch it, but I don't even know when it's on, kind of thing. But yeah, I just watch it for Adult Swim. Make entertainment great again. Let's see. Can you imagine a world where female comedians would be extinct? That is a world where we could choose our own cable channels. Yeah, I'm sure Netflix lost a few bucks on the Amy Schumer thing. I'm sure they lost a few bucks on fucking Bill Nye's The Science of Neg Holes fucking special. Has Arini watched Malcolm in the Middle? I want to see his character analysis on him. Oh, I fucking hated that show. Nobody in that show is remotely fucking likable except maybe the dad. Let's see. Used to be that Fox News get laughed at. Now it's CNN getting laughed at. Well, nobody watches CNN. You know when I used to watch CNN? When I would, at my former job, every once in a while I would go to the Subway near my job and eat lunch, and they were playing fucking CNN on the TV in there. It's literally, if you're watching CNN, which must mean you're at an airport or a dentist office. Bechtloff, have you seen BET show Rebel? It's the BLM power fantasy. I have not seen that. No. I don't watch BET. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say I watch BET. Maybe, when I was like, maybe when rap was at least halfway decent, I would have listened to some rap videos on there. The one thing and it always made me laugh And it's one of the things that gets so heavily censored in rap videos. I used to always wonder as a kid why, like in rap videos, the guys' T-shirts would always be blurred out, right? And see, I thought the T-shirts must have said something like, "fuck the police" or something that the network weren't allowed to show. But no, it would just be that the T-shirts had some sort of brand on it, and the networks would be such petty assholes. They'd be like, "They didn't pay for that advertisement. Fuck you." And I remember them actually admitting that one time. This is how I found out. Like, the fucking rapper would have like a shirt got like, I don't know, Adidas on it or whatever the fuck black guys like to wear. And it was Kurt Loder, I guess was his name, the MTV News guy, the fucking oldest guy in that network by like 40 years back, even back in the day. But he's doing some sort of video. He's doing some sort of show on like what they censor and how or something. I can't remember. But he's like, and we also censor brand names. We like our ads paid for. Thank you. And I'm like, I'm kind of surprised you fucking admitted doing that. I'm kind of surprised you fucking admitted blurring up your fucking video you're showing just because you're that damn petty. You're that fucking money grubbing. And you're like, oh, there's a brand name in this fucking video. Wow. I'm kind of amazed you're so tone deaf. You actually think people stand by you on that. Let's see. People in the chat are bitching about the Big Bang Theory. It's for stay-at-home moms and normies. Well, I mean, the Big Bang Theory is not geared at kind of geeks. It's geared at people that know geeks, I guess is the best way to put it. Here's my history with the Big Bang Theory. I went from hating it to liking it to just kind of being indifferent on it. And when it first came out, I remember seeing it advertised, and I was like, oh, I'll check this out. It's a show about geeks. Okay. I watched the pilot episode, got maybe 2/3 of the way through it, shut it off. Like, this is absolute garbage. I'm never watching this shit again. Well, then it got like this height of popularity maybe a couple years ago where like it's just on all the fucking time. Everybody's talking about it. So I finally gave it another shot. And I kind of got into it for a while. I was like, this show's pretty damn good. I like some of the characters in it. It's a very typical Chuck Lorre show in that it's got a solid premise. It's incredibly well casted. Some of the actors in that show are phenomenal. Johnny Galecki is a fantastic comedic actor. Same with the Sheldon guy, Jim Parsons. Great casting, solid premise, hit or miss writing at best. And again, there's times I think the writing is bang on in that show, and there's times when it's just sloppy at best. One of the ways that shows you how sloppy the writing can be in that, the most autistic character, Sheldon. I mean, the hyper, a genius that borders on mental disorder kind of thing. He's obsessed with trains and loves model trains in particular. But that actually doesn't fit with the rest of his character. He's very much into theory over function. He has no real interest in machinery. He even sneers at the one character who's an engineer. It's not being real science, that kind of thing. He doesn't even have any kind of, cling to the past. He has no interest in traditionalism or history or anything like that. So his love of trains is out of character. And it's never even treated as out of character. It'd be one thing, look, people are oddballs and complex and that kind of thing. Even if the show would admit, it seems out of character for you to be so into trains. Why do you like them? Oh, no, I just do. They would have acknowledged it. But see, the writers didn't even think that much into it. They just thought, hey, he's autistic. He likes trains. It's sloppy. Somebody says, isn't Sheldon a gamma male? I've actually seen Vox Day argue that he's like an accidental alpha or sigma, just for the simple fact that he almost doesn't give a fuck about sex. So, like gamma males are thirsty. That's the thing you got to remember about gamma males. They are thirsty. But Sheldon damn near doesn't give a fuck about sex. I will say that, like, my opinion on the Big Bang Theory is that all of the praises of it and all of the criticisms of it are both right. It is at times a downright brilliant sitcom, and is at times absolute garbage. To the extent it's ever truly great, it is because of the strength of the character actors. Again, the two in particular, Johnny Galecki and Jim Parsons. And one of the interesting things I thought about this, and it was a good analogy for sort of the how intelligence, when it comes to actually being useful, can sort of have a law of diminishing returns to it. If you take the three main characters, take out the Indian dude because he's obviously an affirmative action hire. Even within the show, they sort of hint around to that he's working at this university just because he's an Indian. But you take the three main characters. You got Howard the engineer. You got oh shit, god damn it, I'm blanking on the name. Johnny Galecki's character. Fuck. Whatever. The main dude that isn't Sheldon. I'm like having a brain fart. I can't think of the character's name. The one that ends up banging the blonde chick. But anyways, you got Howard the engineer, you got the main dude, and then you got Sheldon, right? Now, Sheldon is the smartest one. Howard's the dumbest one. Now, the dumbest among three geniuses. He's still a very bright man. But Howard actually has done things for the world with this story. He's built things. He's built things that ended up on the space shuttle, that kind of thing. Sheldon is the least fucking useful one. Essentially, he's at the university writing glorified fucking sci-fi, really. He's, some of these advanced physics theories, they're little more than just pure speculation. Now, informed and intelligent speculation, certainly, but really just pure speculation. And to the extent these theories can ever be proven, it's because of some doodad that a man like Howard makes. So the most intelligent guy is the least useful. So there's sort of a diminishing returns when it comes to intelligence. One sitcom I will say that was surprisingly good, and I sort of binge watched it on Netflix recently, is Parks and Recreation. Even though it's all government officials, it's very not hyper politicized, and to the extent it does delve on politics, it tries to be very even handed. It tries not to alienate audience members the way comedy shows actually used to. And I really enjoyed it. The Ron Parson character, the hyper libertarian guy, I liked him a lot. Chris Pratt's character and April, I don't know what the actress's name was. They were both precious in it. I love that show. It was a very cute show. And I binge watched, the entire, I think 7-year run of it or something like that in a few weeks. Let's see. Bechtloff, you've seen 13 Reasons Why. I have not. I heard it's 8 though, so I don't want to check it out. Let's see. Don't watch One Day at a Time. I don't know what that is. Somebody says, I think Sheldon's actor is gay. Yes, Jim Parsons is gay. But he's a solid character actor. I mean, I really don't have time to get caught up in what kind of people the actors themselves are. That's whatever. I don't care. You're puppets, dance puppet, But Jim Parsons is a talented character actor. I hope he does not get too typecast after this. Supposedly he wanted to play the Riddler, and back when the Nolan movies were going on, still he was talking about maybe he would make a pretty damn good Riddler. So Somebody says saying Trump is a bad president for not being Ron Paul is like saying Mega Man 3 is bad for not being Mega Man 2. Yep. Look, I got more than a few issues with Trump right now, but you know what? Things sure as hell could be a lot worse, couldn't they? Let's see. Most actors are shitheads. Yeah, well, most actors don't even really have political opinions. They're not that fucking deep. Okay. If anything, they're usually empty shells. And by nature of their job, they kind of have to be. They're not intellectual, they're just very good at emoting. They read lines they often don't understand, but they get into the emotional space, and that's how they're able to convince you. But I mean, they're puppets, okay? They're fucking marionettes. They're human marionettes. Their job is to bring to life the things that writers and directors thought up. And ultimately, most of them have liberal opinions because fashionable people will have fashionable opinions. So, if anything, it just behooves us to shift what is fashionable. Comedy Central was made by South Park. Nobody cared about them before then. Probably, yeah. I guess it was because I didn't. South Park was already a thing by the time I even got Comedy Central. But I have to admit, it was by far not the only thing I ever watched on Comedy Central. I used to watch the stand-up specials a lot whenever I got a chance to. And they've had some downright brilliant shows over the years. They had a show on there called My Secret Girlfriend, and it went on for, I think, 6 episodes. And I don't believe it was ever released on DVD, but if you see it on like bootleg DVD, or you can find it on YouTube or somewhere else to watch it, fucking watch it. My Secret Girlfriend was brilliant. It was almost like a really long movie split up into 6 episodes. And you are the main character, right? This entire show is done from first person perspective. The main character is never even named. People, call him Buddy or Pal or whatever. You got 2 friends, you got a crazy ex-girlfriend character, and you got like this chick that's like a neighbor that you're trying to get with or something. It was brilliant and hilarious. I cannot recommend checking out My Secret what the hell was it? My Secret Girlfriend. My Secret Girlfriend, it was called. Man, it's been years since I've seen that fucking show, but it was so good. They also had Ugly Americans was really good. Well, the first kind of season was good, and then they sort of brought it back, but then those seemed really rushed, and they weren't nearly as good. And then it sort of just fizzled out and died. But man, Ugly Americans is like this cartoon where it takes place in a world where like every crazy thing you can imagine just exists in this world. Like demons and wizards and zombies and aliens, and like everything just fucking exists in this world. And like the main character is this liberal pussy, everybody gets along character. His roommate is a zombie. He's banging this demon chick. This show was so fucking funny. And Comedy Central's had some. I mean, Tosh.0 was pretty good. I don't even know if that's still on, but Daniel Tosh is a funny motherfucker. Yeah, there was plenty of stuff I watched on Comedy Central that wasn't South Park, but there's nothing I watch on there now, not even South Park. SNL is pretty much propaganda these days. Oh, yeah, it's shit. Oh, man. By the way, I was just reminded of it because I watched this compilation. Norm Macdonald. Look up Norm Macdonald SNL stuff, especially his weekend update. Man, is it so good. Oh, he had balls. He used to routinely just call Bill Clinton a murderer. He went on The View in like 2000 to promote some TV show he was on and just called Bill Clinton a murderer right there, and Barbara Walters trying to shut him down. And he's like, what, you didn't know that president's a murderer? I thought it was a matter of record. Somebody says Tosh.0 is still on. I didn't know that. But see, that I don't watch Comedy Central. So, Tosh Point is probably at least halfway watchable, but I'm never going to know when the hell it's even on. Let's see. What's the shitty black cartoon that they're pushing these days? I couldn't tell you. I mean, I want to, not Boondocks. That's on Adult Swim. Let's see. Fuck SNL. SNL sucks. Bunch of stuff like that. Yeah, SNL sucks. Somebody says Netflix is shit too. I don't know. I enjoy Netflix. Yeah, I really enjoyed Daredevil season 1 and 2. I haven't actually watched any of the other Marvel shows yet. Been meaning to. But Daredevil season 1 is a masterpiece. Season 2 is really good. Not quite as good, but really good. Stranger Things was pretty damn good. I mean, I watched the first episode, wasn't getting into it, but by the end of the second episode, I was sucked in. Stranger Things was good. Television is a mental castration now. Pretty much. I mean, you're not wrong. You and Forney should do a nightly news hour. Well, our schedules are a little off. You enjoyed Bill Nye and Amy Schumer shows? No, that I have not enjoyed. Netflix is owned by Soros. Isn't everything owned by Soros anymore? Somebody says, is that even true? I don't know. I don't know if Netflix is actually owned by Soros. Soros tends to have stakes in a lot of things, so it's hard to say. All right. Well, I'm probably going to wrap this up. The chat is delayed, so I'll give you guys a couple minutes, or I should say a minute or so, to see if you got any last minute things you want to ask, and then we'll wrap things up. Important question. What do you dip your French fries in? Well, honestly, and I don't have French fries all that often, but I kind of like dipping them in mayonnaise, if I'm being honest with you. Sometimes ketchup, but I like mayonnaise on them. Let's see. Thoughts on Richard Spencer and his tranny post? I don't know. Nano Squid. Are you even American? I know who you are, by the way, Nano Squid. Are you even American? I'm American to the core. All right. I piss red, white, and blue. My doctor says it might be pancreatic cancer, but I told him to shut his commie mouth. Spencer's post has a lot of implicit assumptions behind it. I'm sure it does. All right. I know you know. Yes, Nano Squid. Well, I know that you know that I know. Richard Matt Forney says Richard and Blair sitting in a tree. KISSING. Probably more like RIMMING. Let's see. The nightly news hour with Forney and Bechtloff. Well, his schedule's all off, I mean, but shit, what do I care? I get up at 8 hours a day. I ain't got no job right now. Somebody says, is Richard Spencer the bull in the Undertow Blair White relationship? No, I think Richard's the cuck. Blair White's real name is Robbie. Okay. Somebody says another Spencer quote taken out of context. FFS. Honestly, I mean, I don't even really know all what Spencer was ranting on about trannies in there, but I just know like Blair White was all like, "Are you flirting with me?" And that's why everyone's mocking it because it's funny. All right, ease up. You know, I mean, Spencer is kind of a clown, so. Let's see. All right. Well, that's about it for today. Um, I'm gonna. Forney says I'm gonna start a We Searcher bounty for Blair White's real name and pictures. I think that's out there, isn't it? I thought it was. Uh, all right. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. I got other shit I got to do today. I'm glad I didn't have no robot voice breakup today. That was nice. And hopefully I should be able to get that fixed by Saturday, assuming I'm on to what's actually causing it, because it's hard to say how much of it is maybe the Wi-Fi of mine, and then how much of it is YouTube, because YouTube's been fucking up. But I'm gonna see if I can get my computer actually hardwired onto the internet, because fuck Wi-Fi. I've never liked Wi-Fi. All right, folks. Well, that's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the show, do check out the sponsor, Aaron Clary's new book, Reconnaissance Man, and also the tip jar, where donations /tips /whatever. Throwing me some shekels of any amount is greatly appreciated, folks. So that's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Bechtloff out.